Okay, that's not a map.
The map is inside. It's an ancient League cipher.
Does it need a code?
Try my birthday.
There are 18 digits across 3 alphabets.
Okay, so it's not my birthday.
Hey everybody, this is going to be my Arrow episode 16 video. Obviously, so much stuff happened. I was not expecting said cast member to leave the show after this. I didn't think it was going to happen till much later, but I think we all saw it going in this direction. So we'll talk about that and the big Easter eggs, like Roy wearing his hat from the comics, probably one of my favorite ones. If you're finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get all the DC videos. Flash is still on break for a couple weeks, but I'll remind everybody about the schedule at the end of the video, so no worries. So obviously the big stuff this week was that Roy Harper was back, albeit to take Thea off of the show. Like, Willa Holland has officially left Arrow. It sounds like, based on what the producers said, that this is like them saying goodbye forever until she says, hey, you know, I want to come back for a guest spot. So I don't think that she's going to be in the finale this season, which is good and bad for a couple of different reasons. Thea is a real big part of Oliver's emotional core, but now that William has become more of a regular on the show and he's married to Felicity, they're kind of his emotional core, so it's not quite as big of a deal if Thea had left in a previous season. But I've always kind of been back and forth on the character. I felt like they haven't done the best job writing her, especially in the earlier seasons. Like, she served her purpose the first couple of episodes, like, hey Ollie, I can't believe you're back. Speaking of which, big Easter egg when they said goodbye to each other for the very first line of dialogue that they spoke to each other in that pilot episode. That was actually kind of sad.
I'm gonna miss you so much.
You'll be with me the whole time.
I missed you so much.
You were with me the whole time.
Stephen Amell will sometimes tweet stuff like that, like, if you've been watching the show since the very first episode, watch out because we're going to have a big moment from the pilot in this week's episode. They did a great job when they wrote her off the show. Like, the reason for Thea to actually leave, the logic of it is totally solid. It also allowed them to bring back a lot of League of Assassins canon that they kind of threw out when Nyssa burned Ra's al Ghul's signet ring.
What are you doing?
Earlier today, I disbanded the League of Assassins. I released its forces, much as my father had released you long ago.
So one of my big complaints about Arrow in the past is that they'll have like really cool mythology that they won't be able to use in a future season because of character rights or IP issues or actors leaving the show, and they'll just like toss it all in the garbage. But most of you probably understood the relatively simple logic of the Thanatos Guild, which is basically an offshoot of League of Assassins members. Thanatos, the personification of death in Greek culture. Obviously, they were searching for the other Lazarus pits, power over death. I was actually really excited when they introduced those extra Lazarus pits too, because in the comics there's way more Lazarus pits. Batman even goes around the world with Bane trying to destroy them all at a certain point in the comics. So way back when they did the hot tub on Arrow and then they poisoned it, it was basically them saying, we don't want anybody to come back from the dead using this, so we're going to have characters destroy it on the TV show so that it's not an option for them, so that you couldn't have characters during season 5 go, oh, this person that's dead, can't we just throw them in the Lazarus pit? We can bring anybody we want to back. I was a little upset that they didn't make it green like it is in the comics. Maybe they just felt like it was easier to do it if it was a regular hot tub. But the idea is at the end of the episode, when they sort of ride off into the distance to begin their mission to destroy the pits, is that when they come back on the show, you'll pick back up and they'll have been doing this that whole time, which I feel like is a really smart move, as opposed to when they let Roy go a couple seasons ago and he just went and chilled out. He wasn't doing anything between seasons, nothing exciting, just trying to be a mechanic. They drop a couple cool knowledge bombs. The League was founded in 1013, so that gives you an idea of how old Ra's al Ghul was before he died. They made a Hellraiser reference. Isn't that the box from Hellraiser? That's called the Tesseract. Maybe they didn't use that word because it was too close to Avengers Infinity War. They had the big Indiana Jones reference. Is it Raiders or Temple of Doom? It's Raiders! The stuff with the sister wiving was a lot of fun too. Nyssa has some of the best jokes. I will remain here, sister wife. Husband, you can't keep calling me that. It really makes my wife mad.
Nyssa.
Husband?
You gotta stop doing that. I do have a wife now, and, she doesn't like it.
But that's the fun of it.
A lot of the supporting cast, like Tigressa and some of these other people, were with Merlin when he was head of the League of Assassins, then they broke off. So it also gives you an idea for what Merlin was doing last season when he wasn't around on screen. So it's really cool backstory to give him, but I feel like they should have teased that out in previous season, or even when he was on Legends of Tomorrow. The problem with that is that the writers of that TV show probably didn't know what the Arrow people planned for, and the Arrow people probably didn't even know how they were going to write him off the show. They could have made that character so much more interesting. Like, Season 1 Merlin is probably peak Merlin. So let me know in the comments, what's your favorite Thea moment from Arrow so far, and what's your favorite Merlin moment so far? I still love that early storyline where Oliver first discovers that Merlin is the Dark Archer and they just throw down with each other in that office. One of the best fights that they've ever done on the TV show, period. And then the whole resurrection of Thea's storyline was a really awesome premise, but I don't like what they did with it after the fact. So there was a bunch of other stuff happening in the episode. You still have the running storyline with them trying to rout out all the corrupt people in the police department. They finally find out that the police captain is corrupt by the end of the episode. They bring back Vertigo, which is a deep cut from Season 1 and Season 2. But the other really big news that they just announced is that Katie Lotz is actually going to be in the Arrow finale. So they're going to do like their Birds of Prey episode, because you have Black Siren, which is kind of a version of Black Canary, dark twist on the character from Earth 2, the current Black Canary right now, and then the former Black Canary. I know they called her the Canary, but let's not split hairs. She was effectively the show's first version of Black Canary, and still, I think, the best version of Black Canary.
Sarah, I'm so sorry. She's bleeding. It's not deep.
Good, I can't take any more scars. Speaking of, mortar round?
Yeah, IED to protect a province of Afghanistan. Good eye.
I know my wounds. Grenade, Algiers.
I've never been hit by a grenade.
All those scars, you've never been hit by a grenade?
Arrow, knife. A lot of bullets, no grenades.
I got myself a new bullet. 9mm, right there.
38. I'm mostly swords and a spear.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that Arrow producers made in previous seasons was in not sort of retooling the makeup of their show, turning her into a main cast member, and just retooling their original plans for how the series would pan out. Because there are a lot of awesome characters in the Arrowverse, but Katie Lotz is one of those people that's worth like 3 characters. So whatever, they've been listening to your fan mail, they're bringing her back to Arrow. I've been asking for a Birds of Prey episode for a long time now. But I think the real question we're all asking now, though, is it now that original cast members are starting to leave the show, does this mean that Arrow really will end after its 7th season? Because the thing about TV is that it's designed to make money. If it's still making money, they'll keep making it. Stephen Amell is only signed, along with most of the main cast, through Season 7. So if they do decide to do a Season 8, then they'll have to re-sign him to a new contract. He'll get a big bump in pay, so it'll cost way more money. So there's all kinds of factors that go into Arrow going beyond 7 seasons. But I think it's a little early to talk about that. But let me know in the comments, do you actually think that Arrow goes past 7 seasons? But I'm working on a video for that leaked Deadpool footage from the TV show that got canceled. Remember how Ryan Reynolds leaked the test footage back at Comic-Con a couple years ago? Somebody just did the same thing for the Deadpool TV series. So I'll do a video for that, then I'll do some new Dragon Ball, but leave all your video requests in the comments below. Click here for brand new Infinity War, and click here for brand new Flash. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.